11 picks prior, the Dallas Cowboys selecting Luke Schoonmaker. We've talked to Luke. We've heard the secret audio. Now we have a chance to talk to his tight ends coach. Lunda Wells now joins us on the draft show. Lunda, first, congratulations on getting a guy. Yeah. We knew it was a possibility. The tight end position was highly coveted in this draft class. What do you think about the selection?
I think it was a great selection for us. It's congrats to the organization because I think we got a stand-up guy, a guy that we look to bring in here, meets all the qualities that we want in a tight end and in a Dallas Cowboy. Smart, tough, loves football, and so can't go wrong with those guys.
Man, you look like you were dressed for the occasion, too. Did you know this was coming today, or you just always dressed for the occasion?
You always got to dress and be prepared.
Have you not seen Eldo?
Oh, I know. Oh, trust me. I've seen the hat. I just had to bring it up.
That jacket, though, man. My gosh.
I was tempted to bring the hat out, but I said, you know what? Nah, I don't want to do too much, you know.
I think you should have.
Coach, when we all were watching Luke, and the thing, Michigan is such a physical team with the way that they run the football week in, week out. Right. And the thing that I always noticed about Luke was it's always at the point of attack with him. Right. That's inline Y, it's a move, and the way, I mean, he just hammers people at the point of attack. Is that the kind of, I know it's an attitude you have as blockers, but is it technique and just that will that this kid has to be that good of a player at the point of attack?
Yeah, the starting point is the willingness, and he has that. You can't do anything if you're not willing to do it, so he has that. And then he has the unique redeeming qualities in terms of he understands leverage, he understands how to play with power, understands how to play with the proper technique. And when you put those two things together, I think he was the most complete blocking guy in the draft in terms of fundamentals. They did a heck of a job coaching him there in Michigan, and testament to him and his coaching staff there in Michigan getting him ready for this level.
Yeah, what does Luke add to the tight end room that you haven't had necessarily with a Fergie or a Hendershot or a McEwen? You've already got some good players in there, but what can Luke add that maybe some of the others don't have? Again,
I think, when you talk about putting together a room, you want to continue to bring in the guys that have those tangibles that you want. And like you said, the guys we got in the room, we got excellent guys in Jake and Peyton and then Sean, and we got a young guy, Seth, that do a lot of the things that we want done in the tight end room. I think Luke brings and adds that value also in the room. So then you like I always tell the guys, it don't matter who's playing. I can close my eyes and reach back. Whoever goes in, the product has to look the same or better. So you want to continue to add those pieces, and I think Luke is one guy that helps us with that.
He's obviously such a good blocker in the running game, but I thought one of the things that was kind of undersold about him when people talked about him as a prospect is I think he does show good burst off the line of scrimmage. Yep. I think he does show good, change of direction skills and things like that. Do you think there's been, or not so much necessarily you guys are paying attention to what everybody's analyzing out there, but do you think that he's somebody who's got good potential as a route runner and somebody who can threaten down the seam?
Yeah, I think, like you said, he in the run game, he was so well in the run game, and he did have production in the passing game. I think he's a guy that has excellent route details at the top of his routes. He catches the ball well. He understands, him as a player in terms of the top of the routes, being able to separate versus man coverage against defenders, using his body well. I think his smarts in terms of he understands how to play decisive in the passing game versus zone coverage. I think he has a good understanding for that. And so he's a guy that I do feel like has the ability to be productive in all three phases, in the run game as a blocker, in the pass game, in the pass protection as a blocker, and then also in the passing game. And excited that we got him here with us.
So did the experience mean something to you guys? Him being a 6-year starter and being someone that played a lot of football, especially at the tight end position, that takes time to to learn angles and all that stuff. Was it important to you that he had the experience?
I'll say experience. You never get tired of getting a guy that has experience, and so that is a plus for him. He's played a lot of ball on a high level. So that, I think, is going to allow him to be able to get here and get into flow quickly. Again, he's a rookie, so he's going to have his ups and downs, his bumps and bruises, but at the end of the day, when the product gets ready to hit the field, and like I always say, when this thing's breathing, come August, I think he'll be right there where we need him to be at to be a productive player for us.
How big is that versatility too? Just how versatile he can be with alignment? Because I mean, he would line up in the backfield as a fullback. He could be in line. He can split out. How beneficial is that?
That's huge, because then you never, as a coach and as a offense, you never handcuff to have to just play a guy in one spot. Moving him around and his flexibility in terms of being able to line up in multiple positions, it really, really gives us value. And it gives, Coach McCartney and Coach Schottenheimer the opportunity to really just, plug and play your toys. You find out what car you want to drive and where you want to park it at.
Coach, I was going to ask you the question because to me, when you watch these tight ends, a lot of it in the running game is the fits with the tackles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you got two young tackles. Mm-hmm. Is it a big adjustment for a young guy to come in and have to try and fit in with tackles on the back sides of things, the scoops or the front of the reach stuff? Is that something that you look at? It's like, okay, this guy's going to fit in with Tyler Smith this way, he can do this, or with Steele this way?
Well, it is a big thing when guys come from a program that don't necessarily do that type of stuff in terms of lining up the tight ends attached. The unique thing about Michigan, they're like a pro offense.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that we're going to be asking them to do in terms of the fits and the combinations with the tackles, he's already been doing. And I thought that was one of his values also in terms of his combination blocks. He understands the leverage and understands the footwork to get into that initial fit with that tackle to get movement. So I think he's been prepared for this opportunity. I think he fits us perfect.
So y'all trying to run people over. Y'all trying to run people over.
Hey, trying to be physical.
There you go. Now, there was one note that I had that he saw an uptick as a receiver from 2021 to 2022, and he averaged nearly 12 yards per catch in his final season in Michigan. How do you take that next step again? Where do you go as a receiver with him, and how can he continue to grow?
Again, the biggest thing is, understanding what he does well. Again, his smarts, he understands the coverages. He understands how their scheme fit to particular coverages. So you just try to maximize that. Put him in those positions where, hey, he understands, the intermediate route running, the details of the route running, and then improving their rack. We focus on our yards after catch and really drill that and really try to get guys better, because I do think that that's it's a trained trait, in terms of the rack. So getting that up to speed and getting that better, I think can be the deal where we make a big jump.
He looked like, to me, when you watched him play in red zone, had a really nice feel for how to, the guys are the quarterback's moving and he just kind of moves and then stops.
Yeah.
And now it's much like what the work that you did with Dalton Schultz. You can look at the Tampa game in the playoffs where
Absolutely.
Dak is running to his left and Dalton comes around the corner and just stops.
Right.
And you're like, okay, that's having aweareness, right?
That's awareness, and then I always tell you that's chemistry too.
Sure.
Two guys just when we always talk about playing above 2.3. That's one of Coach McCartney's biggest things. Play above 2.3, and when it gets into that 2.3, you love for your guys to be able to go out there and play as if they're out there playing basketball, out there playing a pickup game out in the streets. Two guys being on the same page, just kind of looking at him, and boom, he knows he's going. I'm looking right there, but I know he's going over there. That comes with chemistry.
So we need to take a quick break on the radio side of things. Do you have anywhere to be? You got something important here, or you want to stick around for a couple more minutes?
I'm here.
A couple more minutes. Okay, so let's take a break on 105.3 The Fan and DallasCowboys.com. More coverage of the NFL Draft coming up next. And we're back on the DallasCowboys.com side. We don't take breaks here, Coach. We're straight through.
Is that a break? I'm about to go get a water.
No, this is not a break. So we're powering through. We're still live. This is all of our friends on DallasCowboys.com. Okay. So kind of along the lines of physicality and the ability of him as a receiver, what makes these Big Ten tight ends so sought after? Because it's not just Schoonmaker. It's been the Laportas and
Brenton Strange.
Even Strange went a couple picks after that. Why have the Big Ten tight ends become coveted in terms of the NFL and what they bring?
Well, when you peel it back and you look in depth and you get to know these guys, a lot of these guys played tight end in high school, and they strategically go to these schools. You know, they be like, you know, I remember talking to Laporta. You know, he strategically wanted to go to Iowa to play tight end. You know, because of what Iowa does with tight end. So a lot of these guys, you know, they not, you know, drive-by tight ends. These guys are tight ends that, you know, play tight end. They passionate about being a tight end, and they go to these schools because they like how these schools kind of play them in line as a complete tight end.
You remember the day when Iowa with Hayden Fry? Maybe you're a lot younger guy than me.
A little bit younger.
Remember when Hayden Fry used to stand those guys up?
Yeah.
They'd play in line, and the tight ends would stand up.
Yeah, that's
In
old
line, I'm
school.
thinking, they're about to get crushed. And then those guys would drop down at the point, and they would hammer people.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's the Big Ten. It's just such a physical brand of football. I mean, I went to school in the SEC, but man, when you watch those Big Ten tight ends play, it's pretty damn impressive.
But even this year's tight end class, you know, for us, it seemed like this is one of the deepest, most talented tight end classes we've seen. Have you noticed that growth at the position?
Yeah, it has, and I think this year is a year that has guys in all 3 rounds, in all 7 rounds, where you can really find some good quality guys. I think this group of guys, they've done a great job. You know, they really have done a great job, and I look forward to seeing these guys over the next couple of years.
What do you think about the evolvement of the position and how the receiving qualities are something that people are really looking for? It's like the 3-point shot in the NBA.
Right.
How do you feel about that as a coach and just how the position is growing and changing?
Right. You know, football is all about matchups, and you know, your best cover guys are out on the Audubon, which is the corners.
Right.
Best cover guys are inside, you know, which is your nickel and good safety. But then when you can get a tight end that can be a matchup in the passing game, you know, maybe against a linebacker who's a physical linebacker, you know, he's playing because he's physical or whatnot, it gives you value. And, you know, Coach Starr always talks about, you know, the quickest distance to the end zone is through the middle of the field. And tight ends line up in the middle of the field, you know, 90% of the time. And so it's a value. It's a value in the position.
Well, Coach, it's been so much fun getting to catch up with you, getting to kind of talk shop back and forth. You've always been so great to us. Good luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it.
Congrats on the
Appreciate
pick.
it.
We're excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch Luke over the next couple years.
Thank you. It's a lot of excitement, but, you know, now we got a lot of hay to make now. So
Hey,
we gotta
there
go
you
to work.
go.
So,
Sounds
gotta go to
good.
work.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Coach.
Thank you, Coach.